Chrysler. Why?
Well, no, I think we should lend them money. I don't think we should give them bailout money. That's an important distinction. And I don't think that Chrysler can be saved. I think Chrysler is too far gone. But I think General Motors, according to what my research for my book, they're very viable. They have dramatically transformed their cost structure. They've taken $5,000 out of the cost of every car by 2010. They have redesigned their entire lineup. They have innovated with the lithium-ion battery that they're going to put in the Chevy Volt. General Motors is a viable, ongoing concern that got ambushed, like the rest of America, by this credit crisis. So if we can get them through this hard, difficult patch, I guess you'd call it,
right,
they will be at the bedrock of the American economy going forward. They'll be a revitalized and newly powerful company.
Right, but Dan, a lot of people say, where do you stop the bleeding? You know, if you continue to come to Washington with your hand out, how does the American taxpayer know when that hand stops coming out?
Well, hopefully it'll stop when the American economy can recover.
Dan?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gretchen. And, you know, Bill's book is excellent in terms of the information that it offers. I disagree with his conclusions. But if you read Bill's book, one of the things you'll see is that the leadership of General Motors really understood 10 years ago or more that it was an economically dysfunctional model. And he makes a convincing case that Rick Wagoner understood this. The problem is General Motors lacks agility to the extent that even if you knew 10 years out that you needed to make fundamental changes, you couldn't do it quickly enough. It's easy to say, well, we didn't see the credit crunch coming, we didn't see these other things coming. But if you've got an economically dysfunctional model, and even within 10 years you can't change it, and you can't anticipate changes in the market. Look how fast the world changes these days.
Right, but Bill,
that is a company that is doomed to fail.
Bill, isn't the problem that a lot of people would argue that the problem is the unions? And now they were supposed to come to the table and make some concessions before this March 31st deadline. And according to everything I've read, they're not doing that.
According to all the what I've seen on Fox, you guys are beating up on the UAW, and you seem to be ignoring the fact that they've made huge concessions beginning in 2007 by agreeing to take over their own health care coverage, by agreeing to a two-tier wage system. The ranks of unionized workers for General Motors in North America has been cut in half. The UAW is in full-scale retreat here and is likely to give up more. So okay, well, the UAW is not the heart of what's going on here. I don't know if Fox is beating
up on the unions. We might just be getting the facts out as opposed to the other people. But Dan, let me get your take on that.
Well, the notion that the UAW has agreed to take over the health care of the retirees, that's true in theory. The problem is it requires this VEBA, this fund that's being set up, to be bankrolled to the tune of $24 billion by GM. They still owe $20 billion. Nobody knows where the money's going to come from, and the very thing that the UAW walked away from the table about the other day was the request that they make more concessions on that. So there may be an agreement in theory, but there's no way to actually implement it, and the UAW is balking at every reasonable method of doing so.
All right, I'm going to have to wrap
this is why we need this is why we need the government to be involved here.
Well, some people would argue that we don't need the government to be involved, but that's why we're having a debate, guys. So Bill and Dan, thanks so much. Of course, General Motors will be in Washington today to state their case, as well as Chrysler. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Well, Getting Out Alive, your plane is going down, down, down. Look at this.